we suddenly had things being made locally here, whereby we could walk to the factory, have a discussion on why this is not right, on how to improve. And I'm grateful also for the team of the specialist nurses and clinical officers, because we would make many journeys to these companies to have a look at the material, to have a look at the production. We made things that I myself would comfortably wear to look after patients that have COVID. That to me, it's something that really Kenyans should be proud upon.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Enjoy the magic of Christmas with Coca-Cola.
Close-up deep action with antibacterial formula and deep cleaning gel keeps your teeth clean and protected. Close-up deep action. Enjoy long-lasting fresh breath and more.
Jaza,
fuel natumia ni true.
Equipment mi hutumia ni true.
stock yangu ni fresh vitru.
Our true accounts kwa mtandao ni Stawi Up pale FB na Stawi_KE pale Twitter. Namba zetu true ni 0709714999 na 0730714999. Paybill yetu true ni 796101 na account number ni namba yako ya simu. Usilipe kitu ndo upate loan. Stawi is a product by KCB Cooperative, NCBA and DTB Banks and is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. Stawi, the lending app that's enabling MSMEs grow their businesses.
Enjoy Good Life new shopping experience. Seek and you shall find. Visit www.goodlife.co.ke to shop. Search and pick your preferred product. Check out and give your location details. Pick your payment method and wait for your delivery to arrive. It's quick. Click and pick.
Nivea Men Deep Antiperspirant with the power of black carbon formula. 48-hour protection from sweat and bacteria. For a deep, clean feeling that lasts. New Nivea Men Deep Antiperspirant. Nivea Men. It starts with you. Official sponsor of Real Madrid.
This is NTV.
Good evening, you're just in time for NTV Tonight. We have a lot of concerns coming from the schools with the reports coming in that at least 13 principals have died, and this is owing to COVID-19 since the gradual phasing of reopening of schools has started. And we have one report, especially today with the school in mourning over the loss of their principal. Also ahead.
Tonight, 15 more COVID-19 fatalities, and it's only getting grimmer. Many more medics test positive as more doctors go on strike.
This is the only resort that now we have. First, to protect these doctors, and secondly, to protect their families, and also to protect these patients that come in this place.
Government to unveil an insurance cover for civil servants. And they mourn their head teacher.
It is not COVID-19. She even sent me messages confirming the same.
But more than 10 school heads have died since schools' partial reopening as COVID-19 infections among learners persists.
St. Peter's Mumias Boys kuna wanafunzi 9 ambao wako confirmed na COVID-19.
Also tonight,
on Thursday, me and the president are going to lead the country in the signing, launching the signing of the document, or collection of signatures for the documents.
They say come rain, come COVID-19, reggae must move.
Tunasikia kuna pesa ya BBI, lakini kwamba kuna pesa ya kuwasaidia wale watu ambao wako na corona. Kwa hiyo priority, it is upside down.
Plus, she called him dad. She now also calls him defiler. He was allegedly to be the father of her baby.
Baba akaenda hiyo siku akaniletea dawa. Alafu akaniambia mesa, alafu mamefa. Ikafika usiku nikasikia kitu inanichuna tumbo, alafu mtoto akatoka wakatupia choo.
We share some complexities of the case.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai.
Also joined by David Agondoa, our sign language interpreter. And top on our focus tonight, the government has maintained that all the school-going children must report back to school from January the 4th, 2021, even as the education stakeholders continue to monitor the phased resumption of physical learning. The COVID-19 infection appears to have firmly settled in the education sector, but that doesn't seem to change the minds of the Ministry of Education officials. The question on many people's minds is who takes the responsibility in the event of a loss of life in school to COVID-19. Charity Mwangi has this report.
Wails from students at Oyugi Ogango Girls Secondary School in Rongo after getting the news that their principal, Martha Ouma, has died. Coming at a time where the COVID-19 pandemic has claimed over 1,300 lives. These girls have a reason to cry, not only for the loss of their principal, but the uncertainty over their safety. The principal is said to have died following a short ailment whose symptoms were quite familiar to COVID-19. However,
just cold, homa hii ya kawaida tu. Yes. And some chest pain.
The school administration maintains that the death of Principal Martha Ouma was not because of COVID-19.
It is not COVID-19 because I talked with the principal. She even sent me messages confirming the same. After the tests were done, both of them, they turned negative.
That notwithstanding, they say they are not taking any chances, calling for testing of the students, the teachers, and the non-teaching staff.
For the safety of the children and even us, we are planning to have such kind of a test.
According to the chair of the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, 13 principals of secondary schools have died since the schools reopened partially.
Ni kisa kimoja tu ambacho kimekuwa kimenakiliwa kama kile kimesababishwa na ugonjwa wa COVID-19.
While the principals worry for their health, a much troubling situation faces them, that of who bears the responsibility in the event someone dies in the school premises. There may be some clues from a High Court ruling made in May 2020. In a case between a parent of a student who died in a school in June 2017 in Siaya County, the court directed the blame at the school administration for any death of a student that occurs in the school. In this case, the teacher was found guilty of manslaughter for the death of the child whose body was found in an underground water tank of the school. This ruling may provide a precedent should COVID-19 claim the life of any student while in school.
Wizara ya Afya ingeshirikiana na Wizara ya Elimu kutuokoa hapo ili tusipatikane kuwa tumefanya makosa.
The gradual reopening of schools now seems like a risk for the Ministry of Education and the Teachers Service Commission that may be forced to pay damages for any life lost, a major headache for the school administrations. Yesterday, a female student of Lureko Secondary School in Mumias West constituency was reported to have died of COVID-19 related complications.
A few of those who are very, very close to the student washachukua samples, wameenda kutest. So within the next pengine leo ama kesho tutakuwa tunapata hizo results na tutajua kama pengine kuna huu ugonjwa kwa hiyo shule.
While the government pushes for a full reopening in 12 weeks, very little is being made public on the preparedness of the said schools to support a safe learning environment and who would take responsibility in case of a COVID-19 related loss. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
And every day we get an update on the COVID-19 infections and fatalities. We see increasingly that these are not just numbers, but lives that are affected, lives that are close to us, as you've just seen in that school and in others across the country. Today, 925 people have tested positive for the virus from a sample size of over 5,500 in the last 24 hours. This now brings the total number of confirmed positive people to 71,700. Now, over 1,000 patients have recovered from the disease, bringing the total recoveries to at least 47,200. Unfortunately, 15 patients have succumbed to the disease in the last 24 hours, raising the death toll to 1,302. The National Treasury and the Planning Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani has announced that they are set to launch the country's first comprehensive insurance cover for civil servants and the National Youth Service. Anita Nkonge with more.
It is no longer a question of if you know somebody who knows somebody who has COVID-19, but now a question of what medical cover there is in the event that someone gets the disease, which has become more prevalent. The COVID-19 pandemic has, if anything, highlighted many loopholes that were once not noticed. Loopholes like comprehensive insurance cover at a time when many fear the COVID-19 pandemic that has stopped the world in its tracks. Medical insurance to cover the pandemic-related treatment is not guaranteed for the citizen at the moment, but soon civil servants, along with medical workers and members of the National Youth Service, can expect some cover. This is after Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Planning, in a statement sent out to newsrooms, announced that they are set to launch the very first comprehensive insurance cover for them. This is expected to include a COVID-19 cover for all medical personnel as well. It comes at a time where disgruntled frontline medical staff have raised concern over what they call negligence by the government to protect them, particularly during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Governments across the world have come out in full support of their healthcare workers. In our country, the neglect and working environment has resulted in the loss of now over 30 healthcare workers. There have been bills of up to 2 million of ICU care of healthcare workers. Those bills have been sorted through fundraising by all healthcare workers, not the government.
The healthcare workers in their demands want adequate personal protective equipment and a comprehensive medical cover, amongst other terms. And rightfully so, as the infections are increasingly exposing them further in their line of duty. Just today in Kakamega County, 102 healthcare workers tested positive for the virus.
Wagonjwa ambao wanakuja kwa hospitali kupata matibabu, sio rahisi kujua kama ako na COVID. Wanamtreat kama mgonjwa mwingine yote. Alafu after a few days, pengine after admission, samples zimechukuliwa, ndio itagundulika yeye alikuwa na suffer from what? Hiyo COVID-19. So by then ashatangamana na wafanyikazi wa hospitali, pengine ashawaambukiza.
Bomet County is the latest county to have its healthcare workers go on strike. The others currently on strike include Nyamira and Migori.
We don't like strikes, but we are forced to go on strike. We have tried all the available options. This is the only resort that now we have. First, to protect these doctors, and secondly, to protect their families, and also to protect these patients that come in this place.
The Meru County Government Headquarters is closed until December the 7th after staff tested positive for COVID-19. This is just a day after Kirinyaga closed its county headquarters over COVID-19 concerns as well. Clearly, the counties now have to be more deliberate in their response to the pandemic, as projected by the Health Minister on Monday.
The County National Emergency Response Committees on COVID-19, co-chaired by governors and county commissioners, should hold emergency meetings and immediately start considering county-specific surgical measures to curtail the spread of the virus in the respective counties.
Anita Nkonge, NTV.
As the situation keeps deteriorating, healthcare services at the Baragoi Sub-County Health Center in Samburu North have been suspended after 3 staff members tested positive for the coronavirus disease. Let's just pause on the pandemic for a bit, as it seems politics is at play and nothing is going to stop it. The BBI train has left the station, and if you're opposed to it, prepare to join the No campaign. Those are the words of ODM leader Raila Odinga, who insists that the time to amend the BBI report has passed and that now it is time to collect the signatures for a referendum. And as Kennedy Moreithi reports, the voices of opposition led by Deputy President William Ruto are growing louder as some accuse the government of misplaced priorities.
The race to woo members of the county assemblies is on, and it promises to be an interesting one. This Tuesday, ODM leader Raila Odinga met the County Assembly's Forum leadership amid talks of frustrating efforts to pass the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020. The Forum wants issues that majorly border on their welfare given impetus. The meeting that took about 45 minutes seemed to have reached a consensus.
We are very optimistic as assemblies of this country that we are going to be able to move together in one bus, that is BBI, so that we can be able to take this country to prosperity.
The meeting comes a day after Deputy President William Ruto also started a series of meetings with county assemblies at his current residence. At the Assembly's forum, Raila said plans to actualize a referendum were on course, and this would essentially kick off this week.
Thursday, me and the President are going to lead the country in the launching the signing of the document or collection of signatures for the document.
This will set in motion a series of activities, including taking the signature books to counties where coordinators will then immediately take the copies down to the ward level. Governors, MPs and members of the county assemblies will play a critical role in signature collection as they will be tasked to drive the agenda.
We want this signature collection to be done as quickly as possible so that by latest end of next week we'll have concluded that exercise.
Na hata hiyo signatures tumesema we don't even need to look for the whole country. Western peke yake, we are ready to give that 1 million.
The political wing of the next phase of the BBI will be headed by National Assembly Minority Whip Junet Mohammed from Raila's side and former Dagoretti South MP Dennis Waweru from President Uhuru Kenyatta's side. Deputy President William Ruto continues to call for a consensus on the document.
If you are saying that these people had a whole 2 years to bring their views, why did you end up with a very controversial document with so many gaps after a whole 2 years of working on it? It means there was something that did not add up.
There will always be doubting Thomases in any process. And that's why we said if you disagree with it, let us meet in the field. So, sema yako, tuseme yetu, tuonane.
You are either with us, you are either for the new constitution, you are either for the peaceful country Kenya, you are either for united Kenya, you are either for the changes that we are trying to put in the new document, or you are not.
Not because they are interested in what will come out of this document, but they are running this divisive agenda because of political reasons targeted at 2022.
Lazima tuweke priorities yetu right, kwa sababu hatuwezi tu kuwa kwamba tunaangalia tu mambo ya BBI, tunasikia kuna pesa ya BBI, lakini kwamba kuna pesa ya kuwasaidia wale watu ambao wako na corona.
Kennedy Muredhi, NTV.
Well, it is time to birth this BBI report. It seems that the midwifery process will go on. Speaking of babies and nurturing them, let's speak about actual lives. When a baby is born prematurely, what happens in those first few hours are crucial to the newborn's survival. The situation gets even desperate if the hospital the baby is born in lacks the necessary facilities for the survival of a preterm baby. This is the reality that many parents across the country are forced to confront in many of the country's healthcare facilities. Out of the 190,000 preterm babies born each year in the country, 13,000 don't make it. And as the world marks the World Prematurity Day today, medics are worried that the survival rate of these babies has shrunk further as COVID-19 affects access to medical care. Bridget Ngana reports.
The oxygen machines at the newborn unit here at the Nakuru Level 5 hospital beep with every fragile breath the premature baby attached to it takes. In here, mothers and nurses team up to provide vital yet delicate care to the children born before 38 weeks, like Nelly Chepngetich twins, whom she delivered at 34 weeks.
Watoto waliletwa nasa, nikakuwa na wasiwasi, sijui kama watoto wako hai, sijui nini kimeendelea. Nikakaa masaa matatu kabla sijakuja kuangalia watoto. Sasa vile nilikuja nikaangalia mtoto wa kwanza, alikuwa mzuri. Wa pili hakuwa anapumua vizuri, akawekwa kwa oxygen kwa siku 3. Na mimi nilikuwa nimekufa moyo, nikasema mtoto wa pili sioni kama atasurvive.
It is an overwhelming mix of anxiety and distress that every mother here knows too well. And medics are now concerned about the welfare of preterm babies born outside health facilities due to the restrictions brought about by COVID-19. Premature birth is listed as the leading cause of death in children under the age of 5.
It is also the commonest cause of deaths in our newborn unit. If we look at our charts, almost 65% of the deaths that we are getting every quarter is due to prematurity.
According to the World Health Organization, 750,000 preterm deaths recorded annually can be prevented with cost-effective interventions, such as this newborn unit that is serving 4 other counties in the South Rift. In Kenya, more than 100,000 babies are born prematurely every year, and more than 13,000 of these babies unfortunately die. Since this unit opened its doors 2 years ago, more than 1,500 premature babies have been cared for here.
The biggest challenge is nursing care, because if you look at this unit with more than 50 babies, and like even during this shift, we only have 2 nurses.
You look at the number of deaths that happen in the pediatric population. Majority of deaths are actually in this group, deaths that are occurring before 28 days of life. So I think the country and the county in particular needs to invest in more newborn units, and not just the physical facilities. We need more health workers.
According to the World Health Organization, more than 60% of preterm births occur globally in Africa and Asia, and it is the availability of infrastructure such as incubators at public hospitals that make sure that these children live up to see their dreams or even achieve them. Bridget Ngana, NTV at the Nakuru Level 5 Hospital, Nakuru County.
Thank you, Bridget, for that report. That is actually one close to heart because I'm told, I can't quite tell you definitely, I was a preterm baby at 7 months, and salute to the doctors that made this possible, and definitely to God. Stay with us.
When the schools shut, the textile sector came to a halt. We have a workforce of over 300 people that we need to support, and the orders were just cancelled overnight. If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how Equity helped the local sector by procuring locally. Basically, 100% of PPEs were being imported. I don't think a single local textile industry had thought of manufacturing PPEs. So with equity coming in, we were able to retrain and repurpose a lot of our labor force. And on top of that, we hired an extra 50 to 100 people when the orders got a bit higher. What the local manufacturers achieved, it shows the Kenyan spirit. We were there to protect our front line, which was helping fight this pandemic. And not only did we fight, we made it a product that meets international levels. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more. Like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Enjoy the magic of Christmas with Coca-Cola.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Sasa unaweza jua unayemtumia pesa kutumia *334#. Tuma pesa bila tashwishi yoyote. Dial *334#. Press 1. Enter phone number. Enter amount. Enter M-Pesa PIN. Confirm recipient details and put a smile on a loved one's face. Kwa kuweka kila kitu kwa namba moja, tumerahisisha mambo ili uweze kuendelea kufanya vitu unavyopenda ukitumia M-Pesa.
This week on Lit 360.
Yesu anaweza kuokoa. Aliniokoa mimi, nilikuwa mgenge. Nitakupa jamii, ukinijali. Mimi hapa.
Chairman Diogari Topo Gaubina reporting for duty for the Abraham. We're chilling here with a lot of amazing people, superstars. We have artists here. We have idlers.
Get your value-added plot today by cash or through our installment plan. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
Optiven Limited, the pacesetters in real estate.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai.
Welcome back. A man in Baringo North allegedly defiled, impregnated and made his 14-year-old daughter procure an abortion. Ibilisi. The girl says her father, who has allegedly been repeatedly defiling her, warned her of dire consequences if she tells anyone about it. The man has since gone into hiding. Rose Wangoi reports that the children activists claim the case is becoming difficult because there are no medical records to prove that she indeed was expectant.
She is only 14 years old, but the experiences she alleges are painful, a horrific reign of abuse at the hands of her own father. For now, we will call her Dada to protect her identity. Young Dada has been living with her father after he and her mother separated, after which he went on to remarry. The Baringo North girl says her experiences at home have been cold and cruel.
Alafu baba akakuja usiku akanishika, alafu akanifunga mdomo, akanifanyia tabia mbaya, alafu akaniambia usiambiane, na akarudia tena ya pili akanifanyia hivyo.
Months later, Dada says she began feeling sick, gaining weight and was unsure of the cause.
Mtoto akakuja nyumbani penye niko. Nikaona mtoto ni kama mjamzito. Nikauliza mtoto ilikuwa ya nani? Akaniambia ilikuwa ni ya baba.
When her father discovered that she was carrying his child, he allegedly moved to make her procure an abortion.
Baba akaenda hiyo siku akaniletea dawa. Alafu akaniambia mesa, alafu mama efan ikafika usiku nikasikia kitu inanichuna tumbo, alafu auntie akaniambia enda fua kwa mtoto, nikafua Nikafika nyumbani mtoto akatoka wakatupia choo.
According to children activists, the case is proving to be difficult.
The report from the doctor says that everything is okay. There is no discharge. There is nothing that shows that the girl was pregnant. So it's like we are fighting. It's like it's our word against his.
We've taken an initiative of subjecting this same victim to a different hospital so that we can get results and compare. Then from there, we shall take action whoever is culpable.
The father has since gone into hiding. Police have launched a manhunt and investigations. Rozongoi, NTV.
Can only hope that the authorities get to the bottom of this. 3 people have died while 11 others have sustained serious injuries after a vehicle they were traveling in lost control, veered off the road and hit an oncoming vehicle along the busy Bomet-Narok highway. According to eyewitnesses, the matatu was trying to escape a pothole as they approached Chepkosa Bridge near Bomet town when it lost control before it rolled and hit a saloon car that was traveling in the opposite direction. Confirming the accident, the Bomet police boss Musa Mamai has said that the slippery roads due to the ongoing rains could have contributed to the rise in accidents around the area. 11 passengers who were injured are receiving treatment at Tenwek Mission Hospital, and the bodies of the deceased have been taken to Longisa County Hospital mortuary. Bomet County Disaster Officer Stanley Mutai is calling on the Kenya National Highways Authority to move with speed and repair the bad road that has caused 5 fatal accidents in the past 3 weeks.
Tukizingatia tabia ya wale watumizi wengine wa barabara, basi itakuwa ni rahisi sisi kuzuia uharibifu ama majeraha ambayo yanatokana na ajali ambazo zinaweza kuzuiliwa. Pia tunatakana kuzingatia kwamba wakati huu barabara ni telezi. Wakati ambapo unaendesha gari barabarani, lazima uhakikishe kwamba unaendesha katika barabara telezi. Iwapo kwa ghafla unahitajika kusimama, itakuwa rahisi kwa gari kuteleza. Haitasimama mahali ambapo umepiga breki kusimama. Kwa hivyo pia mwendo lazima izingatie uwezo ama hali ya anga.
Be safe, that's the message. Business News is up next. Dan Mwangi is standing by.
Parenting is all about learning when to be tough and when to be gentle. Tough, gentle. But when it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Tough call. Panadol Baby and Infant. Tough on fever, gentle on your child.
Miaka 20 safari ilianza ya kutuunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Let's go beyond. Mimi na wewe tukibuni kazi nzuri ya kujivunia. Let's go beyond, let's go beyond. Kwa juhudi na matumaini twaelekea kesho pamoja. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Safaricom.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Every time Gran arrives, she always has a small reward for her.
I made this for you today.
Ah, thank you, my baby. It's so beautiful.
Wow!
She's happy, and I trust it because it's made with milk and other carefully controlled ingredients without any colorings or preservatives. Care has been taken to make it. I love to see her happy because it meets her taste and fantasy. Kinder Joy, my trust, their joy.
With the Stay Soft refill, saving money is as easy as snip, pour, mix with water and shake. Stay Soft refill. It's 2 liters of Stay Soft for up to 30% less.
Good evening and welcome to NTV Business. I'm Dan Mwangi. Now picture this. You spend all your lifetime savings in buying yourself a house, but a few years later, a bank knocks on your door with an auction notice because the developer did not service the loan used to develop the house. Now that is not fiction. It is actually the story of 11 families in Gables Park estate in Machakos County who are now hours away from losing their property. Victor Kiprop reports that the courts have further closed doors to the homes whose doors they hoped to open to many.
As the lights go off and the country falls asleep tonight, it will be a different kind of a night for 11 families at the Gables Park estate in Machakos County's Mavoko sub-county, as their houses along Katani Road are set to be auctioned in the morning.
Some of us are under serious pay cuts. Where do we get the money to rent other houses? Our children, what are we going to tell our children? Why are we moving houses?
On November 3rd, 14 other home buyers were issued with a 45-day auction notice by legacy auctioneers, acting on behalf of Housing Finance, which funded the development of the properties. But how exactly did they end up here?
Tulinunua hii manyumba kutoka kwa Capital Realty between 2012 and 2018. Tukalipa polepole. Most of people finished.
According to court documents, the developer Capital Realty Limited had taken a 350 million shillings loan from Housing Finance to develop the 76 housing units, a loan that would be serviced using the proceeds from the sale of the units, which would be deposited in an escrow account. And by January this year, the documents indicate that the developer had already defaulted on the principal amount and interest payments, which had accumulated to over 301 million shillings.
Around September, we got notices from the bank. Actually, the first one was that they wanted documents to show that we had bought these houses, and we did that. And then 3 months or so later, they came back with an auction.
An attempt by the distressed buyers to block the auctioning of their properties was thrown out on the 23rd of October by Justice Oscar Angote on grounds that the bank's interest on the property as a chargee is superior to that of those who purchased the property, adding that the purchasers should have done due diligence on whether the property is charged to any loan.
And they're asking us if we can pay, they can release the house to us. How do we buy what is already bought?
We need the developer or the bank to tell us where our money went to.
We're just asking for anybody who can come and help us.
Contacted on phone, the developer told NTV that the buyers had indeed paid for their houses, but could not explain why he had defaulted on the loan, only adding that he was still negotiating with the bank. By the time this report was compiled, the bank had not yet responded to our queries. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business.
Very sad set of affairs if that is the actual case. Now, third quarter results for select banks show the extent to which players in the sector are taking a hit from the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. In September 2020, the Central Bank of Kenya reported that loans to the tune of 1.1 trillion shillings, or 38% of the sector's loan book, had been restructured. NTV's Julian Samboko engaged the Managing Director of National Bank of Kenya on the sector's present state and outlook.
Mr. Paul Russo, welcome on set. Just to take a dive into this subject, there's a lot of concern about asset quality, especially looking at Q3 numbers, how the NPLs have surged. What do you make of this, Mr. Russo?
Obviously, financial banking sector was definitely going to be impacted.
due to its criticality, either in the storm or through the recovery process and beyond. My take is it's a temporary impact, and as you see, the way banks have come to respond to it is it's a step towards making sure that those entities come through this storm, but also ensuring that we have a sustainable, setup post the recovery or the new normal, whichever term then that we use.
How are you pricing risk? Of course, we understand that ever since rate cap, we haven't seen much movement from 13%, but now we are in a very high risk environment out here. How are you pricing risk?
It is not a concluded element, I must say to you at the moment. It's in discussion, it's at funds level. Each entity is putting out the models to demonstrate that. And it's not a regulator thing, to be honest, if you ask me. It is for us as bankers to do the right thing, to be transparent to our customers.
Looking at the KCB numbers released last week, I saw some very aggressive provisioning from the bank. Is that an indication of how bad you expect the situation to get?
It's about being prudent, but it's also about the industries that have been affected. So you know the way the hospitality industry has been affected. But most importantly, as KCB, we made a choice to make sure that we support our customers, that level of support includes foregoing some of the profits or what would have made from those customers.
Speaking about keeping your clients afloat, when you look at the disaggregation of your loan book across sectors, how would you say your portfolio at risk is in light of some sectors, of course, like hospitality, have taken a dent more than others?
You and I know there are some of these outlets that are yet to open. But you will also see the impact of, particularly the lockdowns around manufacturing. At that particular time when some entities could not import what they needed to import. So manufacturing is actually big in our book. But again, we've seen it tick up post-lockdown. So that again just reflects a significant impact, if you ask me, on the lockdown.
Getting back onto something you mentioned, and a lot of concern out here around the moratoria being extended. Viewers out here will tell you that I thought my loan was being restructured only to discover the interest was still accruing. Of course, there are various ways in which this could have been handled. Just explain to us from the KCB side how you've handled this situation.
We've seen primarily around largely around three key requests. The first one is, let me pay interest, give me moratorium on principal. There are those that have come through and said, hello, give me moratorium for the next 1 year or so for both principal and interest. And then there's a third group, and that has been a lot even to individual level, that says, I can continue to pay, it's not the same amount, I need us to restructure. So basically you're then extending by the number of months, years, period that the individual or organization was going to repay.
When you took over NBK, I remember having a conversation with you, and of course, part of your core business was ramping up the recoveries in terms of the NPLs. COVID now comes in and of course complicates this, and many of us are really concerned about how NBK will tide through this. Are you as worried as we are?
The beauty about how we went about our recoveries was, in the first instance, getting those facilities performing rather than just a recovery aspect. That was one big chunk about it. The second bit is the fact that the customers that came in and said they want to have a plan to and resolve that, and I'm happy about that. What I see as an issue that we have to wait for is realization of securities, because the market is in the way it is. So you can have very good securities. You ask yourself whether going to market today and realizing those securities is the right thing. So we've made a conscious decision not to exercise that.
We are coming from one shock into another. We had the rate cap for 3 years, of course. We saw the manner in which it eroded the profitability of the banking sector. Now COVID is here with us. What's your outlook on the resilience of the sector as far as these shocks are concerned?
There is a Kenyan behind that name that's struggling, that's not performing. They are absolutely entrepreneurs. They know what they need to do. It's a shock that hit them. Banks will partner with them to be able to deliver that. But I think most importantly, I also want to highlight that the regulator has been very, very strong, coming together, pulling banks as an industry to come together to address this. Now, so it's not just about a bank trying to survive on its own or trying to deliver on its own. It's been an industry. It's been, working with the regulator to find the right solution. So you will recall banks have forgone on non-funded income on moving money from banks to mobile wallets. It is going to be the concerted efforts from the industry as well as the resilience of the Kenyan business person to turn this around.
COVID has really thrown a curveball at many businesses, even banks which are making their paper. And speaking of paper, many are the cases of people who have left one career line and ventured into another, and more so in this pandemic time. Our reporter Gabriel Kudaka visited a chili farmer in Uasin Gishu County and tells us about the progress and prospects of her newfound engagement 6 months since she ventured into it.
In Seko village, Moiben within Uasin Gishu County, we find Nora Cheserem inspecting one of her chili greenhouses. This turned symbolic of the change in her life and career path. She moved to farming after 20 years in the finance sector, having planted her first crops in May this year.
I narrowed down to two types of varieties of chilies. One is called Demon F1. The second variety I have is a plant called habanero. I have grown 2,000 plants of each.
From one greenhouse, she harvests between 50 to 100 kilograms of the chilies. She sells the Demon F1 at 80 shillings per kilogram, while habanero fetches between 120 and 150 shillings per kilo.
I was doing what they call strategic risk. Unajua markets saa zingine inaweza kuwa juu. Sahi, this one is the one that is fetching a better price. But you never know. In life, things can change. That also has a market, but I wanted to also see how they perform.
Access to international market is still a challenge for Nora, who depends on brokers to sell her produce. She hopes to take advantage of the European Union-funded Market Access Upgrade Program, which seeks to promote 8 varieties of horticulture in the European market, which include chili.
The project aims to encourage women to join agribusiness activities and become part of the supply chain, all activities involved in the agricultural export supply chain.
The project, which is implemented by the United Nations Industrial Development Organization in partnership with the government and private sector, seeks to ensure the products meet the stringent market requirements. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV Business.
And Kudaka's story brings us to a close of the business bulletin. Interesting that you've got, pili pili, which is called Satan, devil rather. Interesting. Either way it burns. There is heat and fire. Good night. I'm done.
Go ahead is believing to make each day a brighter day. It is showing everyone that we can all be heroes. Going ahead is our courage to do something new. It's those small acts that go a long way. It means growing our own. It is making the most of what we have. It is supporting each other where we can. To go ahead. Now, that is the Kenyan spirit.
From far with you. I even gifted you a magnificent house. Rosa, it's the thought that counts. Please help me.
When it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Panadol Baby and Infant, tough on fever, gentle on your child.
Shining through the city with a little fucking soul. So light it up like dynamite. This is shining through the city with a little fucking soul. Light it up like dynamite. Oh.
Cocoa, Kenya's highest saving, longest lasting and biggest Jiko, cooks fast using half the charcoal compared to other Jikos, so you use less fuel and receive extra savings. Enjoy our great discounts and save an extra 500 Kenya shillings when you buy Jiko at your nearest shopping outlet.
Welcome back. 3 people have perished in 2 different incidences after being washed away by floods in Busia County. The first incident saw 2 people perish on the spot after the waters of River Lari swept them off their motorcycle. In the second incident, an 18-year-old Form 4 student drowned in the flooded River Angolok in Teso South while grazing the family's livestock.
This is the calm after the storm. The waters have receded, but the loss remains. 3 people were swept away by the swelling floods as they went about their everyday activities.
Tulikuwa pikipiki 3. Hao jamaa walikuwa na pikipiki moja mbele na ingine katikati, sisi tulikuwa nyuma. Mmoja alikuwa amebeba mwingine na nepia kirasi kwa pikipiki. Huyo jamaa alikuwa anamsukuma na maji kitoka huko. Hao wawili, kuna mmoja anaitwa Tokita. Ndiye alishuka kwa pikipiki akarudi nyuma. Akaambia jamaa kama sisi tuka hapo nyuma, bwana mtoke hapo, maji inakuja mingi. Hao jamaa wakakataa ati siwezi waacha pikipiki. Ndio maji ikatoka huko mingi, ikapiga jamaa akaanguka ndani ya maji.
Alafu nakutana mtu mwingine anamwambia watoto maji kusaja, rudisha nini? Ng'ombe. Sasa wakati hii watoto narudisha ng'ombe, ndio ajali hiyo katokea. Natendeka. Alikuwa watoto 3. Sasa 2 kapona. Alafu mmoja ndio maji ndio alienda.
Soon after, the rescue mission kicked off, but as the time went by, it was apparent that it was no longer a mission to rescue, but rather to recover the bodies of the unfortunate victims. Now residents are pointing an accusing finger at the government that has failed to prevent loss of lives.
Wanatengeneza barabara, wamevunja daraja, na huyo contractor hakuwekea watu daraja. Sasa watu wanahangaika pahali pa kupita.
Watu wenye wanatengeneza hapa daraja ni watoto tu hapo. Ukija ukipita ukienda Ugalo, utaona watoto wanafunga tu hawaya wanakaa. Wanafunga hawaya wanakaa. Nashindwa engineer alienda wapi kuja kusimamia watoto wakifanya kazi.
The warning bells have been sounded to residents to be more careful during the rainy season as similar incidences could recur. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Now, internationally, or at least on the continent, the United Nations is fearful of a full-scale humanitarian situation unfolding in Ethiopia. And that's why African leaders have kick-started talks in Ethiopia's escalating internal conflict 2 days after rocket strikes on Eritrea's capital highlighted the risk that the fighting could spread. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni held talks with Ethiopia's Deputy Prime Minister, while former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo headed to Addis Ababa to make his bid for dialogue. Ethiopia's government has rejected calls for mediation, saying this would incentivize impunity, but the humanitarian crisis is worsening.
Ethiopian troops have advanced further into the northern region of Tigray, seizing a key town on the road to its capital. The conflict between national forces and troops loyal to the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, is heading towards the end of its second week. Crisis Committee spokesperson discussed the group's efforts to kickstart some mediation in Ethiopia's escalating internal conflict 2 days after rocket strikes on Eritrea's capital highlighted risks that fighting could spread. At a press conference, the Crisis Committee spokesman indicated the government held TPLF responsible for the humanitarian fallout and accused it of deliberately spurring a refugee crisis.
We don't need any mediation until we bring the ringleaders to court. They don't care about the people they think they represent, because, make it clear, is they are trying to scare the Tigrayan people so that they can flee away from home.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has added his voice to the international calls for a peaceful resolution to the fighting in the north of Ethiopia. He released a statement after meeting Ethiopia's foreign minister in Nairobi. The president's call comes after a similar comment from Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni after meeting the leader. Ethiopian Prime Minister has said the TPLF needs to be disarmed before negotiations can begin, as well leaders have called for an immediate end to hostilities. On the other hand, TPLF has accused the government of conducting airstrikes in the state's capital, Mekele. Ethiopian Prime Minister has promised to enable humanitarian support by the military, but it's not clear how that can be achieved amid an escalating conflict. Hundreds of people are reported to have been killed so far in the conflict, some in a gruesome massacre documented last week by Amnesty International. The United Nations estimates that around 20,000 people have crossed from Tigray into neighboring Sudan over the last 10 days.
We are starting to provide assistance services with UNHCR, WFP, the Sudanese Red Cross, Muslim Aid, and other service providers.
Ethiopia's Prime Minister launched military operations in Tigray 12 days ago after he accused local authorities of attacking an army camp and attempting to loot military assets. The TPLF, which is in power in the region, denies the charge and has accused the Prime Minister of concocting the story to justify the offensive.
With that report, we get into the sports in a bit. Ida Oringa is standing by with that.
Rock Industries brings you Rock Plastic with a variety of kitchenware, ranging from kitchen dishes, cups, plates, clothesline pegs, spoons, and even rulers for learners. All this coming in your preferred size, beautiful colors and texture, and our products are one shop away from where you are across the country. All Rock Industries Limited products are 100% virgin raw material that is cost-friendly. For these and more products, contact our offices on 0722 575619 or 0736-02-8181. You can also visit our offices in Industrial Area, Ndume Road, off Lunga Lunga Road, Nairobi.
Even if you do not use credit as often, it is good to have the ability to do so in the event of an emergency, as well as help establish a good credit rating and a subsequent possibility of obtaining additional credit. Visit www.stimasacco.com/credit products/ for more information.
We are a reflection of you. We are a stable, financially sound institution providing tailor-made services to add value to your life, time, and money. We are guided by your aspiration. We are Stima Sacco, a true reflection of you.
Bank wakasema mwenye ako na loan tuende kwa bank. Mtu vile alikuwa amechukua loan yake kiwango yake akareduciwa. Sasa ingekuwa maisha ni ngumu kabisa. Sasa nimekuwa marafiki na Equity Bank kabisa.
Pata kila kitu upendacho kwa M-Pesa kupitia star 334 hash.
This week on Lit 360.
Yesu anaweza kuokoa. Aliniokoa mimi, nilikuwa mgenge.
Nitakupa jamii, ukinijali.
The chairman Diogari Topo Gaubina reporting for duty for the Abraham. We're chilling here with a lot of amazing people, superstars. We have artists here. We have idlers.
Get your value-added plots today by cash or through our installment plan. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
Optiven Limited, the pacesetters in real estate.
A very good evening to you. Time for the latest in the world of sport. I'm Ida Waringa, and the Kenya Under-20 men's team will play a friendly match against Kenyan Premier League club AFC Leopards on Wednesday in preparation for the Sekafa Under-20 Championships. The regional junior tournament is slated for Arusha, Tanzania, from November 22nd. For this, the Rising Stars have reported to residential camp at the Kenya School of Government, where players and staff underwent mandatory COVID-19 testing. The team had been in non-residential training and played 2 friendlies against Sudan, winning both. The Kenyan team is set to jet out early Friday. The Rising Stars are in Group C alongside Ethiopia and Sudan. The finalists will earn an automatic slot at the Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations.
After him being dropped with the national team, of course, I met him and told him that Mala, this is another shortcut of getting back to the senior team, because by the end of the day, if you come here, you perform well, you'll get another genuine chance of making it to the senior level.
And in NTV Sports' continued coverage of the development of football amongst Kenyan youth, we focus on Inspire Soccer Academy. It's less than a month old, but has a vision of nurturing the next generation of players. Lokedere Natiom tells us more.
Ivan Karanja is an only child from a single-parent household in Wendani. He loves art, but has another budding passion, football. Every Saturday, Ivan and 60 other young aspiring players report for training at Inspire Soccer Academy in Kahawa Sukari.
Imenisaidia kuongeza passion yangu about football. Imenionyesha football inaweza nipeleka far. Imenifundisha about gameplay, kuna gameplay different. Game inakuanga about passing, ikuangi about kucheza tu kupiga ball.
The 16-year-old is a fan of midfield maestro Kevin De Bruyne and looks up to Kenyan international Victor Wanyama.
Vile anachezanga kwa hiyo midfield inani-inspire. Victor Wanyama amefanya jina ya Kenya julikane at football.
Ivan is joined by 11-year-old Paul Omondi, a fan of Harambee Stars international striker Michael Olunga, and Wolves strongman Adama Traore. The children are under the tutelage of former Kenyan international James Situma, who won the Kenyan Premier League with the Sofapaka and Tusker FC in 2009 and 2016 respectively.
Maybe more focused on dealing with K4 issues, but also nikasema apart from that I should be somehow productive na kuona nimedevelop the youth.
Aside from the evident challenge of poor training grounds and lack of kits, coaching young talent can sometimes be a challenge on its own, but Coach Situma sees it differently.
Kitu poa sana na kuwaka na watoi kama hawa, at least as an individual, unapata ukideal na group kama hii na kuonyesha kwamba lazima tukuwe na uvumilivu mo na ujaribu pia kuunderstand.
Evidently, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and with initiatives such as Inspire Soccer Academy, the future of upcoming football players is as bright as day. Lokedere Natiom in Kahawa Sukari, Kiambu County.
And thanks for that, Locadaire. Let's cross borders in France. We'll be looking to cap off the UEFA Nations League group stage in style when they host Sweden at 10:45 p.m. tonight. Well, it's been an impressive campaign for the world champions with 4 wins and a draw, confirming their place in the finals next October at the expense of defending champions Portugal. Sweden, meanwhile, are languishing at the bottom of Group A3 with only 3 points to their name after beating Croatia last time out, and are in serious danger of relegation to League B. In other notable fixtures, former world champions Spain and Germany go at it in Sevilla, and Croatia take on European champions Portugal. Well, that does it for tonight. Much more sport tomorrow. I'm Ida Warenga. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing and evening. Beg your pardon.
Well, the rest of the viewing for NTV Tonight is me saying good night, and thank you to David Agondo for the sign language interpretation, for CK, our director, Dan Mwangi, and Zain Wandati for producing this bulletin, and the entire team that made it possible. Remember, stay safe. COVID is real. Good night.
This